they're bringing back coupons. Penney is. I mean, and that's sort of the low-hanging fruit on what they need to do. Your reporters talked to Ackman. Did they get a sense of what else he's going to do?
I mean, Ackman's going to stick with his shareholding. I think, what Mike Ullman's going to do very much is stabilize the business and then determine which parts of Johnson's plan to keep and which parts to jettison. He's probably clearly going to slow the changes as well as he attempts to shore up the balance sheet and, basically bring the customers back into the store.
Well, the tragic part of this story, and there's many, but it sounds as if, though, that actually Johnson had a very interesting and innovative idea to transform retail. He just didn't execute it properly. He just didn't test it out and roll it out slowly.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, as we wrote in Women's Wear Daily yesterday, it was an bold, iconoclastic plan that, in a sense, would have reinvented department store retailing. And everyone else, had the plan worked, would have been catching up to his vision. The problem was that he came in and had a 3-year program of turning an aircraft carrier around on a dime. And I think that's the problem. If he had done it gradually,
it might have worked.
It might have worked. And it still might work. Ullman might be doing parts of it, and then he's going to end up looking like the genius.
Right, exactly. I mean, because the whole store-in-store, the shop-in-shops that Johnson had talked about, I mean, they actually did pretty well, the ones that they did test out, did they not?
Yes, I mean, some did mixed. I mean, Joe Fresh is doing better in some spots than others. But the sales per square foot generally went up in all the new stores he put in, and he was getting real brands as opposed to private label brands that were losing traction. I mean, don't forget that when Johnson came in, Penney's was slowing. I mean, it was suffered in the recession.
That's why they needed a change.
That's why they needed a change.
And that's why Ullman got the boot.
And he made great copy for us, which is great, and for everybody. But I think he had a vision that, as you said, he just didn't execute well enough for a department store.
Well, you raised a good point, which is maybe Johnson felt he had sort of the the blanket ability to do this completely, quickly and in a flash, because he had the entire backing of Bill Ackman. That Ackman was there to support him, and maybe to some extent, Johnson feels betrayed by Ackman.
He could. I mean, those are conversations that, only the two of them know. And don't forget that at that point also Vornado had a much larger stake. So you were talking about two shareholders that owned 25% or more of the company, went out, recruited Johnson from Apple Retail, one of the best formats out there, and we don't know what he said. They might have said to him, you have carte blanche, you can do whatever you want, go for it, basically.
We don't know until we actually talk to Johnson at some point.